Okay, we love our musicians, do we not? Thank you, guys. Thank you. 11:02. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Salem's first and foremost Center for Spiritual Living, Woodland Chapel. Yes, we've been around for a long time. Is there anyone visiting us for the very first time? I know there is. One right over here. Oh, yes. Hi. Yeah, okay, first time this week, right? Okay. Anybody visiting us for their 112th time? This guy, okay. Well, we want you to know that being a first-time visitor, we hope you like what you hear. We hope you like what you see. We hope you'll come back. And we used to call, Salem's little church hiding up here on the hillside. We used to call it Salem's best kept spiritual secret. And we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want it to be the best kept secret any longer. No secrets. No secrets. In fact, the universe has no secrets. There's just things to be discovered. So there's things here to be discovered. We hope that you will come back. And I think Donna might be telling you about coming up. We have this little paper that will be in your packet that she'll give you. All right. Right behind you is Reverend Moore. Look him up or look me up or look up Reverend Julie. We have a gift. We want to get you to bring this to us. We have a gift for you after service, anyhow. So, before we get started here, the thing that a lot of people are coming to realize when they come here and visit us is that we don't tell anyone what they must believe or what path they got to follow. There's not a lot of rules in our philosophy. What we do is we just like to open up our doors and just open up our hearts and just reassure you that the same power that brought you into life is still present and has no further any intentions at all than to just support you and your desires to live and love abundantly in your life. We teach it, we preach it, we talk about it all the time. So we're glad you're here. Glad you're here. Come back. In fact, let's see. We should get started here with some announcements, I think. Reverend Moore, can you help me with a couple of those things? You had something that I think this would be important that you share with us here this morning before we get
Absolutely. Glad to share.
Before we get into the actual announcements.
You want me to do the actual announcements? Or what do I want to do? Oh, good morning. How are you guys doing out there? Alive and awake? Good. Pardon me?
Absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely wonderful. We had a gentleman who used to say, infinitely splendid.
Right.
Bless his heart. I wanted to, I guess I can call your attention to the announcements in the program. I will be speaking. Next week is Easter, and what we're planning to do, I believe, is Reverend Don and myself and Reverend Julie are going to present. And we'll have a little ceremony that's going to go with it. And I think you'll enjoy the ceremony. It's somewhat similar to what we did with the Transformation of the Cross. But it's going to be the renewal of our awareness of how spiritual mind works. And we're going to use the teaching symbols. So it'll be different and still similar. That's next week. And just oh yes, please bring flowers. Lots of flowers. We need flowers. Make that thing alive. Yes. Let's see. The potluck, of course, today, and Soup for the Soul next Sunday. No, not next Sunday. April 16th, not Easter, the week after. And we'll be having more events as time goes. One of the main reasons I came up today was just to let those who are maybe more senior among us, been here longer, kind of commemorate, at least briefly, Howard Bates. Howard Bates and Glenna Bates were long time members of our center. And they both did so much. Glenna was so active in the Women of Woodland Chapel. Hey, good morning, Dennis. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning. Yeah. And Howard passed away, I remember exactly, he made his transition on February 27th. It was in the newspaper last Sunday. Howard Bates. Howard Bates. You may not remember him, but he was here. Yeah, he was a tall guy. He was a man of strong convictions. Yeah, and a wonderful guy. Yes. So one thing I remember about Howard, we were taking a class. I remember who was teaching at the time, probably Reverend Tony. And he supplied a copy of Eknathaswaran's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. It's a 3-volume set to every member of the class. He's a man of strong conviction. And still supported this center up until this very year. So we just take a minute to honor Howard Bates. Just a moment of silence. I know that Howard has made his transition successfully and is now enjoying the company of his beloved Glenna and all the relatives who have gone before, and in a very real sense waits for each of us there so that when we arrive at this next experience, we will have some friends there, including Howard. Thank you. That's all I have. Is there any other announcements that need to be made at this point?
Any other than what you just said? Yeah. Join us for potluck? Did he say that, you guys? We have a potluck.
We do, don't we?
Yeah.
There's fried chicken.
Chicken when it's pippin', it's got no bones. Fried chicken. Reminds me of back home, fried chicken all the time. Every Sunday morning. I finish church and go home and my mom would be cooking fried chicken. Okay, what else for this calendar of events for new classes and workshops and more? Just watch for that. It's coming up. And, Reverend Moore already did cover the topic for next Easter Sunday. It says here Reverend Moore's topic is going to be Easter vulnerability, but it's going to cover a lot more than that. Because Julie's going to do, and Reverend Moore is going to do, and I'm going to do, and you're going to just think, what are they doing? But it'll all come together. Okay, so I think it's time for some music, don't you?
Well, I think we should all sing together.
Okay, let's do that. Let's stand and do that.
Please stand if you're invited to. If that feels good for you.
It's going to be just a light of mine.
Oh,
We're going to embrace our inner children today. Sing This Little Light of Mine with some tweaked lyrics. There's an insert in your program there. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little heart of mine, it's gonna be so kind. This little heart of mine, it's gonna be so kind. This little heart of mine, it's gonna be so kind. Be so kind. Let it shine, let it shine.
Little voice,
This little voice of mine,
tell you what's inside.
tells you what's inside. This little voice of mine tells you what's inside. This little voice of mine tells you what's inside. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
This little light,
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Woohoo! Yeah.
great singing, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.
don't have any fried chicken, but I have a prayer. I don't know if you heard that, but I don't have fried chicken, but I do have a prayer. Am I okay up there? Okay. Okay. So, here we are. I'm just looking out and embracing all of you. Hi out there. Good to see you. I invite you to turn within. Just going inside, embracing the presence of the one Spirit that brought us here today. I know that I am at choice in every moment. I'm at choice in what I embrace, what feelings, what thoughts I pour into my imagination, into my energy, into my intention. And I know this to be true for all of us, that Spirit and law listens to that and acts on that. And I know that right here and right now, we are being moved to the knowledge of our wholeness, the wholeness that has always been there in every part of us. It's individual. It manifests in different ways in each of us. I know that this morning's music inspires us and delights us and brings us to joy. And the message, Reverend Julie's message, speaks of who we are, our true individual selves, always blessed and embraced by Spirit. Everything unfolds perfectly as we serve and are served, and the light shines through each of us. I am so absolutely grateful for this moment. Grateful for each of you that have chosen to be here today. Grateful to those who've chosen another action for their Sunday. They too are blessed. I bring blessings on all paths to God. Churches, mosques, synagogues, whatever choice we choose for our path to God, all leading the same way. And with this gratitude in my heart, I simply release this message into the law, into the power of the law. And together, join me in saying, and so it is. And we have an affirmation in your program. If you would join me in saying, today I embrace my beginner's mind as I open myself to emotional honesty. I cease my battle with life. I welcome opportunities to transform any sense of complexity or messiness in my life. When I surrender to my authentic self, I trust myself. I live in the now. I see my truth. I step up. I speak bravely. And so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And happy 4th of July. Today the talk is of the wise fool. And in the words of Hans Christian Andersen, the great Dane, the emperor has no clothes. Some parts of the world celebrate April 1st as April Fool's Day, and people play pranks on one another. This makes me think of the ancient idea of the wise fool, the seemingly uninformed, innocent, and unaware person who at the right time speaks the truth. and who, because of their presumed innocence, doesn't suffer any consequences. An example is the fool in Shakespeare's King Lear, the only person who can speak truth to the king. The key to the power of the wise fool is a childlike wonder and curiosity, combined with a keen ability to observe and intuit the motivations and inner lives of others. This is indeed a rare skill. The reason the wise fool doesn't suffer consequences, especially negative ones, is that their revelations are seen as innocent and free of ulterior motives. What would happen this month if you attempted to be a wise fool? Open your own heart to the wonders of the child and sharpen your intuitive skills to see beyond the surface without attachment to outcome. That is vulnerability. It is possible that you will be treated with respect, like the fool in King Lear, or you might be treated with derision, like the wise fool character in Plato's allegory of the cave, who tries to free his fellow prisoners and is treated as if he were out of his mind. Be willing to step out, see truth, and speak bravely. And a bonus affirmation for today. Today I see through the heart of the matter, unencumbered by convention.
Don't we love our readers and those that pray in? Yeah. More music.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy April. Nice to see you all again. I'm throwing things. We are going to play a song that we have been working on this week. It's called Courage from the Heart. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Less traveled for a reason. It's lined with shadows. We must face ourselves. The journey's done on our own, with courage from the heart. Stay on the beaten path. Where others go, we follow, thinking they know better. But deep within, that little child's crying. Use courage from the heart. Only you know where it is. You alone can take the steps. Every day we have a choice to let ourselves be free and fall into who we're meant to be. The road less traveled is less traveled for our way and just start walking. The life we crave is ours to take with courage from the heart. Courage from the heart. With courage from the heart. Thank you so much. Wow. Ari and Peter, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We're so glad you're here. So, you guys come from Tualatin, right? Westland. So, even more grateful for their make the effort to come be with us. So, yeah, good morning, you guys. Good morning, yeah. Whew. Yeah, I'm glad it's not April Fool's today. It's not that I don't trust, but it's so good to see you all this morning and to walk in here and feel the energy. And I'm going to recommend getting up in the morning and before you begin anything, reading your Science of Mind, reading your daily word, reading your inspiration. It sets the tone. I got to tell you, I was so calm today. Neither of my printers worked. And I'm on my third printer, and they're actually new, and they wouldn't work. And I thought, well, I have no talk. So, and I came down here, and I couldn't get the machine to work. And I tell you what, if you set the day up with your inspirational reading, it just somehow like, oh, it's okay. We're going to chill. So anyway, I'm just so glad to be here, and thank Reverend Moore for handling all the technology and all that. So. Gotta love technology. So this month we have been exploring the concept of authenticity. And I have found this whole process to be a deeper and more profound experience than I ever imagined. Obviously, there was something here for me, and I think if you pay attention to the what we're doing, that you'll find that there is something here for you too. So last week we looked at why work at being authentic. Well, because it's really important. And this week we're looking at how to live a true and authentic life. And so we had a definition last week, and I thought it was a really great definition of authenticity. Put simply, authenticity means you're true to your own personality, values, and spirit, regardless of the pressure you're under to act otherwise. You're honest with yourself and with others, and you take the responsibility for your mistakes, your values, ideals, and actions. You were born with a purpose. You were born with a purpose. We cannot reveal this purpose if we are not who we are. And if we're just not authentically and fully ourselves. And I don't think as a younger person I ever thought about this. Just went on being whatever and conforming when I needed to conform or not conforming when I didn't want to conform. But this is really powerful, and I discovered a lot, especially today, what I want to talk about. And what most stands in the way of being our authentic self, because what we talked about last week is the power is in who we are. If we wear a mask, who we are cannot bless the world. It cannot reveal who we are. Our own creativity is somehow less than it could be. Because that spark, I love that little light of mine, light that light within it, let it shine, and it can't shine if we put something over ourselves and don't like who we are. So it's really important. And what stands in the way of our being our authentic self? What causes us to wear a mask? I mean, that, and think about that for a moment. What causes you to wear a mask sometimes? What causes us to believe that we are not worthy. We're not worthy of good and more good, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. And what limits our freedom, our happiness, our ability to have intimate relationships with other people. In short, what keeps us in the dark? What keeps us in the dark and limited? And you know what happens? And we reach for some addiction to feel alive. Because we can only feel fully alive when we are fully who we are and not afraid to be who we are. And so what stands in the way of our authenticity is shame. And there's no way to talk about authenticity without talking about the elephant in the room. The feelings of shame and unworthiness. And shame is like this universal human experience. It's the feeling that we're not enough. And wherever that comes from, it's a fear of being unlovable on some level that convinces us that we have to work harder to be okay. We have to change ourselves. We have to keep some parts of ourselves hidden. Because we're afraid if people see those parts of us, they won't like us or they'll judge us. And, if we live our authentic self, doesn't matter. It really prevents us from having the love that we want, really. And so I had a friend many years ago, and she was Catholic. She was raised Catholic, and all of her kids were kind of young together. And she had, every time something horrible would happen in her life, and there were a lot of things that didn't work, she would say, "That's my punishment for my great sin." And, at first she'd say that, and then I didn't know what her great sin was. You're not going to pry into someone's great sin. Might be curious, but no, I'm kidding. But so one day she said, "My great sin is I became pregnant before I was married." And this was against her values, her religion, all of that. So all of the things, she didn't think she deserved good things because she had committed this great sin, and therefore she was unworthy of good things. And there were all sorts of things that cropped up, and I was just like, wow, we all have something, though. You may think, well, that's a ridiculous sin. But we all have something. And that's what I want us to get at today. And how to heal the shame that keeps us stuck and prevents us from living life fully. And all of us have it lurking somewhere. And so learning what shame is and the triggers that shame us. Okay, would you agree? Am I the only one here this morning? I just really like to feel not alone in this. That you feel like you have something. Yeah, thank you. The rest of you, I got to talk to you about how you do it. And what triggers the shame in us so that we'll be able to look at it and work through us. Ernest Silm said the only thing that stands between us and knowing our worthiness and recognizing our light is a thought. Becoming aware of the unconscious thoughts and patterns that keep us from embracing our worthiness, that keep us from being empowered in this life, empowered for us to step out of the darkness and let that light shine, to really let it shine, because, we have that in us. And if we're authentically ourselves, oh my God, the world is blessed by that. Have you ever been around someone that just says who they are, no matter what? And it is so refreshing. So refreshing that they talk about all of their foibles and everything, and it's like, wow, there's power in that authenticity. I think that's the power in the 12-step programs. People reveal who they are, and everyone else is free to be who they are. And we keep it hidden, and we not only keep our own power and our light hidden, we, for who we are, we enable other people to be who they are, because we're not going to judge them. So, and I've read all these books, and I read most of them, because they're so interesting. And I've been getting them back out again and looking at them, and they've hit me from a different place. And I was looking at this idea of shame, because I kind of didn't relate to it until I began to look at it. And how has that impacted my relationships? How has it impacted everything I've done? And where does that come from? We talked about some of the places last week, and I was thinking how children interpret things that happen to them. I know you could each come up here and tell me your story. And I was thinking, what was it? Well, my story, my mother died when I was a toddler. And I remember that experience so well, because I remember crying and crying and crying. And okay, so my grandmother was wonderful. I had wonderful grandparents that raised me and indulged me and gave me everything I needed. So what is the problem with that? I get it, but then what about that child? What about that child that had that experience? You see, within each one of us is that little child. Maybe someday we'll do a class on that, and maybe you've done it before, on this child within each one of us that remembers something that maybe we have forgotten. And see, okay, what would be the problem with that? Not my fault, I didn't do anything. What about embarrassing? Okay, there is a sense of abandonment. Okay, nobody abandoned you. Me, intentionally? But within that little child, that baby, that toddler, was this sense of abandonment that somehow says, you were not worthy to have this person around. Now, is that screwy, isn't it? In our intellectual mind, we know that's kind of goofy. But not to that little child. And those are the kind of things that stick with us. If we could take a moment, and maybe we will, to think about what in your life may have triggered something. And there are things that we've often forgotten, or we didn't think they were significant. I didn't think that was significant till I began to do this work and see how that may have impacted all my relationships. So this is really important work. This is why I wanted to do this talk today. And it's really important work for us to work with this. So how do we heal this shame in our life? And, well, the first thing is about pain. You see, shame causes pain, doesn't it? Embarrassment causes pain. Hard things that we have to do cause pain. And for a lot of folks, the answer is to some kind of addiction. Well, maybe for all of us, because there's all kinds of little addictions. Even our phone, where we're on our phone all the time and it takes us away. I have a friend that plays games on the phone all the time. Even during meetings, I'd be, put the phone down. Those are ways to soothe ourselves. And so it causes pain. And that's at the core of all of our addictions. And then we run away from pain. And we run away from pain by putting on masks, by not looking at it, all sorts of things. And how do we handle that? How do we handle that? I'm going to tell you what I learned from a teacher of mine many years ago, a Hindu Buddhist teacher. One of the most profound lessons I ever learned. And it was about pain. And I didn't think I had any, but, you know, then I know I lived in this world of illusion. But what he said, when there was pain or anxiety or stress, the tendencies to run away from it isn't push it away, get busy, call the therapist, whatever. But what he said, and this really works, you guys, and I encourage you to practice this week when something comes up. There will be a feeling, right? It's all felt. Wherever you feel it, in your chest, in your stomach, wherever you feel that anxiety, that pain, close your eyes and go into it. And it's going to feel really scary, like the whole pain is going to kill you. But stay with it. Stay with the feeling. Stay with the feeling and go into it and go into it and go deeper into it. And at some point you will go right through it into some infinite void. Just practice that. Whenever you feel that pain or anxiety in your chest and things, go deeply in it. Tell me this week how this has worked for you. It's just something you have to do and practice. And it really works. It really works. Because the pain is an experience, but it is not who you are. It is not who I am. It is an experience we are having. It's not who we are. And see, that's the whole point. When we feel that, and we feel the pain from some shame or something, we identify with it, don't we? It is like who we are. Oh my God, I'm such a jerk. I mean, I'm an idiot. We begin to identify with it, but it is an experience and it is not who we are, and we can go through it because it's an experience. As we go through it and we go into that void place, that is who we are. Into the great, awesome I am. A Sufi story here. A certain man there goes to see his barber, and a barber, I guess he's a tattoo artist too. I would be afraid of that, but a powerful, heroic blue lion was what he wanted tattooed on his shoulder blade. And do it with flair, he said. But as soon as the needle started pricking, he howls. What are you doing? And the tattoo artist said, the lion. Which limb did you start with? I began with the tail. Well, leave the tail out. And then that lion's rump is in a bad place for me. It cuts off my wind. And the tattoo artist continues, and immediately the man yells, oh, which part now? The ear. Doc, let's do a lion with no ears. And the tattoo artist shakes his head, and once more the needle, and once more the wailing. Where are you now? The belly. I like a lion without a belly. Then Master Lion Maker stands upright for a long time, then throws the needle down. No one have ever asked to do such a thing, to create a lion without a tail or a head or a stomach. God himself could not do that. Rumi. So in fear, parts of us get left, those beautiful, wonderful parts, don't they? Those parts, do you have parts of yourself that you think are not okay? Something that is not okay. Yeah. Yeah. Could be, we don't weigh the weight we want to weigh. We didn't get into the school we wanted to get into. I'm not being hired for the job I want. There's parts of me, I guess I'm not okay. You know what I mean. So the second point about this, going into the pain, is create an inventory of our triggers. Really watch what triggers us, because those are like, aside from annoying us with other people, those are messengers for us. Those are messengers for us. Trust me. What triggers us is telling us something that is painful within us, we don't like, and we're going to be defensive about it. Because if it didn't matter, it wouldn't trigger us, would it? This is really important stuff, you guys, because those are the places we self-sabotage ourselves. Where we self-sabotage ourselves. And third, make a decision to accept and love all parts of ourselves. I remember a time when it was really the thing to stand in front of your mirror and say, I love you. And I remember we had that as an exercise in class, and how many people were like, I can't do it. That we can love and admire somebody else, but we can't stand in front of that mirror and say, I love you, every part of you. So, a way to move through this, a way to embrace who we are. So, this week, perhaps you might want to spend some time recognizing those positive things about yourself, even if you don't believe them yet. They're true. Isn't it interesting how we can know something's true but not believe it? Hey, we're such a fascinating species. So we are worthy. Worthy of what? Worthy of all human beings' needs, having our desires. We don't have a desire in this, a deep desire, unless there's something calling it forth in us. We all have the right to love and compassion and belonging and connection. And these are things money can't buy, and nor can we earn them. We can only reveal them, can't we? By being exactly who we are. Exactly who we are. And what a blessing to everybody. Oh my God. You know, your closest friends. You love them because you know who they are. You guys know everything about each other, and it's okay. It's okay. So in conclusion, Ernest Holmes said, there is something within you beyond all doubt and fear, something which has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feelings. This is the only something that can make you whole. Nothing out there, but something already within us, that flame born within us, for us to just let it shine. And so it is. Namaste. Do those practices this week.
Thanks, Rev Julie. That was beautiful. Got me really crying there. Was feeling it. Okay, we're going to play a song called Embers that I wrote. Feels funny to say I wrote it because we've done it together. I wrote it a couple years ago, and it was at a time in my life where there was a lot of change and a lot of unknowns, and I was really leaning into my authenticity. So feels like good timing to play this for you. It's called Embers. Walls up, guarded. No one can get in. If I keep them outside, then maybe I'll begin learning how to trust myself, the feelings and the pain. So much that needs healing, it's kindling in a way. Inside there is a fire, it brightens up the dark, discovers burning brighter by the day. It's starting to shine. Inside there is a fire, and it brightens up the dark. Discovers every corner of the shadows in my heart. The flame, it's grown and grown in size. It fills the deepest parts. It shows me that my power's from the embers in my heart. The embers in my heart.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow. And you wrote that?
I did.
Oh, you are so good.
Thank you.
Oh, you are so good. Thank you.
If you want to sing.
Ah, go ahead. Go ahead. You could.
Goodness. Okay, this is our special time. Reverend Moore's going to help us with this, I think. When you hear Reverend Moore pray, don't you just love to hear him pray?
Yes.
Love it.
Yes.
He's one. I'm going to Shannon, if you want to help me pray the prayer. Okay, so what do we say now?
We say, divine love,
As me, bless and multiply all that I am,
all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful, I am grateful for abundance in my life.
There's a depth of life. It lives within us. It is us. Yet it is so much more. It is our connection with the infinite goodness, the givingness of the universe that supports us in so many lovely ways, with such power and strength and life and energy. It has brought to us all the gifts of our beingness. And from this gift of life, we share freely this morning, that we might share life with all who come to this center, that we might teach that which helps people understand themselves, that we might preach the words that bring minds to awareness, and that we might give the love and receive the love that is in our hearts, that is the essence of our beingness. So with great joy, we accept every gift given here this morning and know that it rushes out to bless the entire universe with goodness. As we know this, let us say together, and so it is. All right. If you'd like to stand, we could go ahead and do our prayer of protection. It's in the program. If you don't know it, it's right there. It starts with the words.
Of God
Surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's sing our peace song. You might want to join hands for that.